What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, we're going to be taking a look at Emma with her new Phoenix 5 uniform and comparing that to her old uniform, the Marvel Now uniform, and see what kind of difference there is between the two uniforms, because they're both really powerful. So, yeah, let's go ahead and hop into my build on Emma before we get into a little bit of gameplay and comparison going on. So, we have her gears at 23 here, and I do have all the slots at least equipped on Uru. They're 5-star, and there should be a few, I think, mythic in there. Yeah, because I did deck her out a little bit, so I was kind of filling in the gaps there. Her ISO 8 set, we have Power the Angry Hulk. It is fully awakened. And then the Obelisk here, which is really nice. I kind of lucked out. I have a Mind Damage and a Fire Damage Obelisk with a proc, so I can kind of switch between the two uniforms without much of a penalty at all in terms of her damage, because the Mind and Fire Damage are only 1% difference between the two. So, yeah, it was a pretty nice happenstance that I got this Obelisk on her, so I can just pretty much freely switch between the two uniforms and yeah, have about the same amount of damage, which is going to be good for like Shadowland if I need a villain, or if I need a hero for a particular stage, maybe in Shadowland Infinite, that kind of thing, or if I just want to use the other uniform, you know. So yeah, let's take a look at the uniforms first, because as you can see, I have this one at Mythic and I have this one at Heroic. Pretty much the only difference between the grade there is going to be 4% all attack, as you can see, 25% here, 21% there, and then the two bonus stats, which is going to be dodge and crit damage. So those are the two that are going to be missing on this uniform, and the dodge isn't really going to translate to any extra damage, just a little more survivability, but the crit damage, however, that is about 10%, if I remember looking at her details a little while ago. So that's about 10% crit damage that this uniform is adding over her old uniform. And then if we take a look at the details here, I am capped out on her ignore defense and skill cooldown, and then for the crit rate, we're up to 50% for that. So that's what Emma is looking like here. So now let's go ahead and hop over to a little bit of World Boss Ultimate. Then after World Boss Ultimate, we're going to be taking a look at GBR, because we do have Combat Master Mold today that we're going to be able to take Emma in against, and we'll have a comparison between the two uniforms there. I have already recorded that clip, so I do know the results of that, and it's going to be more substantial than the World Boss damage that we see here. So yeah, let's see if I can get this on the first go. We're going to be using the same team, Ancient One and Valkyrie, so we're not going to have any difference in terms of the team ups and the bonuses we're getting from that. So we want to do this, wait for the 3 clones to pop out, and then try to get the damage proc. That was a weaker damage proc than what I normally see, because I've done this quite a few times to make sure that I kind of can see what the average, yeah, because the proc's a little late on that. So we'll do one more here, but that's a little light compared to what I see when I got the damage proc to actually proc right at the start of the 4th skill. So yeah, it took 3 damage procs to get it down 1 bar there, so that was like 33% of the bar for each damage proc. When normally I was seeing a little bit better than that when I was trying out the Phoenix 5 uniform earlier. I was actually seeing more like 40% with each skill rotation. So after this 3rd rotation, I was usually a little bit into the next bar, just about like 10 to 15% into the other bar, but that'll be okay for right now. Let's go ahead and pop on the other uniform, or her old uniform. So let's go ahead and grab that, move over here, and then see if we can't get some good procs with this uniform. So her Phoenix 5 uniform can be a little finicky on the procs, because it can actually proc a lot earlier, or earlier than you expect, I guess, because of the damage now on the 3rd skill. So sometimes that will proc it a little bit quicker than you can skill cancel into the 4th skill, which can be a little annoying at points. To get whacked right there. Alright, so as you can see here, that was pretty much the same amount of damage. We'll do another proc here, but that was a lot better of a proc though. Like, the proc lined up a lot better there for this particular run. And then if we do our 3rd one, we're going to see a little bit into the 16th, or into the next health bar. So the two uniforms are really similar on damage here against Cole Obsidian, but in my previous testing, which of course it didn't show it right here, the Phoenix 5 uniform was edging out this Marvel Now uniform. The Marvel Now uniform just now, I got like 3 pretty much on point damage procs. The Phoenix 5 uniform, I did not get those for this particular clip. But let's go ahead and try one more time, actually, so I can show you what I'm talking about. Because usually this uniform does about, about 10 to 15% more damage, maybe 20% more damage against World Boss. So let's go ahead and try one more time here to see if I can get one of the damage procs to line up properly. Alright, let's switch over, get our clones out. Oh, a little bit early on that one, so let's reset here, try one more time. I tried to stall a little bit to make sure the damage proc went off exactly when I tapped on. There we go, that should be a little bit better. Yeah, as you can see there, that was a lot better because that first one, the proc didn't even go off on the correct skill. Oh, that one didn't either. But anyway, the damage is a little bit better on the Phoenix 5 uniform is what I'm trying to say here. But not by much. That's also the point that I'm trying to make. And then if we go out against Ebony here to just show off one more, let's go ahead and hop right in. Make sure that we can get a damage proc on Ebony without him teleporting away so that we can get a accurate representation here. And hopefully this one will show what I was trying to illustrate with Coal Obsidian, is that the Phoenix 5 uniform edges it out a little bit, but not by much. So let's go here again. Alright. Alright, so what is that, like 80% of a health bar? Or maybe 75%. And now we'll grab the other uniform, the Marvel Now, and then we will hop into the GBR clips that I have recorded. And the GBR clips are going to be a little bit more interesting in this because there is a lot bigger gap between the two uniforms, and that's because I do the kind of full clear. I guess just doing one rotation here might not show the actual true damage, because that's just kind of one rotation, whereas you kind of throw your skills in a little bit in between, or I don't know, shows which one might be a little easier to line up the proc on. But let's try here. And we did not even get a damage proc. Are you serious? How did we not even proc? Like, not even at the end of the skill. But as you can see there, even with the missed proc, that's pretty close to what the Phoenix 5 uniform got on just the one proc. So yeah, like I said, about 15% I would say in terms of the damage increase. But that's against World Boss Ultimate here. So now let's go ahead and hop into GBR and see how she did against Master Mold when comparing the two uniforms. Alright, here we are at the first clip, which is going to be of Emma with her Phoenix 5 uniform. And we have two teammates in here that aren't really going to be doing much of anything. We've got an Iron Man and a Molten Man, but they're both only level 66 or something like that. So Emma's going to be doing all of the damage that you see here. And I am going to be playing really aggressive with both of the uniforms to try to just keep doing the skill rotation without trying to dodge much or kind of run around too much, except for letting the, of course, skills come back off of cooldown, so that way I kind of have an even comparison. And that's why we're bringing this team here with Wasp as the leadership, because it gets us a little more damage and also gives us that debuff immunity, so I don't have to worry about getting mind controlled, so I don't have to switch characters, because I want it to be really consistent with the two in terms of just doing as much damage as I could, as fast as I could. So now we got through the first phase of Master Mold here. And as you can see, yeah, we did pretty much all of the damage there. So we're going to be moving on to the next phase here, and we're cutting into part way through. So I have the damage counter up here. As you can see, I am doing all of the damage. And Master Mold is combat type, as I mentioned earlier, so we are having the type advantage, which is definitely helping out, because look at those bars just melt, and that is all Emma. So she's dishing out some really strong damage with this uniform, or I guess really strong, or like raw damage against Master Mold here, because of course we have no way to reduce his defense or his fire resistance, so this is just going to be the straight up damage from Emma. So here we go, hop back in. We've got 14 bars left to go, and we're only 4 minutes in. So she's pretty much going to solo clear this in less than 5 minutes, which is really, really nice. I mean, we are using pretty offensive, I guess, team here, because Wasp with the leadership and the debuff. We could, of course, gone with a full leadership. I could have used Ancient One or something like that, but then we might get mind controlled, and then I'd have to switch, and that wouldn't be really ideal for the test here now, would it? So, alright, here we go. Last couple bars. We're going to be doing 60 million damage in total when this is all said and done. So that's pretty much all of Master Mold's health, and I think one more proc here, then we'll get there. We're working our way there. So we're hitting the 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and there it is. So now I switched over to the next clip here. We'll look at the comparison at the end, but we had 5 minutes and like 15 seconds left on the clock, so that was like 4 minutes and 45-second clear. So now we have Emma with her Marvel Now uniform, and yeah, we're gonna start dishing out the damage here. Who's mind controlled? Looks like that's the Iron Man. Again, our teammates aren't really going to be doing much here. We might be doing a little bit more than the previous clear because we do have a tier 3 in here, but it is not a very well built tier 3. Which is nice for me because then I can do all of the damage and get a better kind of comparison. Instead of just looking at the numbers, I can just look at the time that it takes to clear. But we'll look at both. So we're almost done with the sitting phase for Master Mold here. And it's taking, as you can see, a little bit longer with this uniform. And that does kind of carry over to when he stands up in the next phase. The damage again is just a little bit lower. So the raw damage of this uniform seems to be lower than the Phoenix 5 uniform, but in War Boss Ultimate that doesn't seem to translate as much as right here against Master Mold. So there we go, got him up, and yeah, as you can see, we're doing a majority of the damage again, 81% of it, 82%, so pretty similar in terms of the other clear, where we're going to be doing like 90% of the damage. And here we go, cutting towards the end of it, so we don't have to draw out this video too long, but wanted to show a little bit of it so that you can kind of see when I get my rotation down and the damage proc goes off, how many health bars are actually melting. Like right here, it was like a bar and a half, maybe a little more than a bar and a half with the damage proc on this uniform. With her Phoenix 5 uniform, it was more like 2 or 2.5 bars, so it's a bit of a difference, like almost a bar's worth of damage extra with the Phoenix 5 uniform, because as you can see, we're already past the 5-minute mark with this uniform, and we still have 6 bars left. So yeah, a little bit slower. We're gonna finish this off here, hopefully. No, we got guard broken, which is kind of weird, because we do have our super armor. Let's get this next damage proc off. There we go. So it's probably going to still take like another 2 damage procs. Probably should have cut this clip a little bit shorter so it could just get to the end of it. But you get to see Emma, a little more Emma killing Master Mold here. Alright, come on. Gets like one more skill rotation in or something like that. Ugh. Well, one more. He's left with a quarter of a bar here. Come on, finish him off. And boom, there we go. All right, so here are the comparisons. So 5 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock there for the Phoenix 5 uniform. And we did, of course, 60 million damage. And then with the Marvel Now, we have 60 million damage as well. So luckily the damage was pretty much the same between the two here, except, you know, the percentage is different for some odd reason, which I'm not really sure. Yeah, but anyway, the Marvel Now, it was 3 minutes and 49 seconds left on the clock. So that is a good minute and like 20-second difference between the two uniforms here. So that's a pretty sizable difference in terms of clearing GBR. So definitely the Phoenix 5 uniform looking a lot better in GBR than the Marvel Now uniform. So I'm not really sure why I didn't see that big of a difference in World Boss Ultimate. Maybe I just had to do like the full clear and not just rely on one skill rotation or just a couple skill rotations at the start there. If I kind of did like a full clear, I might see more of a gap widen between the two uniforms. But overall, as I expected, the Phoenix 5 uniform is better than the Marvel Now uniform, and you would expect that since it's the newer uniform. You want the newer uniform to always be better than the old uniforms because you want that little bit of incentive to get it or upgrade. But if you don't have any uniforms for Emma, just go ahead and pick up the Phoenix 5 uniform because it's definitely going to be a little bit more powerful. And also, if you need that supervillain tag for Shadowland, then of course that'll come in handy. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video here, kind of comparing the two uniforms. Let me know what you think. If you found a bigger difference when you were doing Warboss Ultimate, if you saw less of a difference than me, or yeah, just let me know your thoughts about the two uniforms, if you upgraded from the Marvel Now to the Phoenix 5, or if you kept the Marvel Now and didn't even bother getting the Phoenix 5 uniform. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.